Hey BookTube, it's Jackie. How's it going? If you're new to me, it's the first time you're seeing my face. Hello, what's up? My name's Jackie. I sit on my floor and I talk about books. So that's why you're here, because that's what's going to be happening today. If you are not new to me, thank you for always tuning in and the continued support. I really do appreciate it. So today for you, I have my weekly wrap up. This is from December 18th through December 24th and all my reading shenanigans in between. I did complete some stuff, not as much as I like. This month is kind of a bust for reading, but it's the holidays. I'm having a good time, and what I am reading, I am enjoying and having a good time with, so I'm okay. But without further ado, grab yourself a drink, have yourself a seat, and let's get talk about what I did complete this week. Okay, so I am still making my way through Valor. I'm about halfway through now, and I'm still having a great time with this. This is the second installment in the Faithful and the Fallen series by Gwynne. We do have triggers for extreme graphic violence, and we are really getting hardcore into this plot now. Multi-POV, a lot of pieces, all moving at the same time, a lot of stuff to keep track of, but we are starting to really figure out the bright star and the black sun concept that this God war is based around. And what we think we know is probably not what we know, based off of what I'm kind of getting already. So definitely some more mindfucks coming down the pike, a lot of twists and turns. This is definitely something you have to pay attention to. It is a lot, and every little bit counts. I mean, it is just every single page is jam-packed with new information, new backstories, new concepts, new twists and turns, new revelations, new what the fuck, what are you talking about? Like, that's not what just happened in the last 2 chapters, and now you're changing it? Holy shit. This thing is a corkscrew of twists and turns, and it's just, I'm having a great time with it. It's just, it is taking me a while. It's taken me pretty much all month so far to get to where I am now, because it is a lot. It is a time commitment. This is not a series for the faint of heart. If you do not like a lot of complicated things in your books, this is not something that you're going to want to do. But if you want to take the time to break them down, figure things out, put the pieces together, this thing is one hell of a ride. And I am still very much enjoying my time on it. I'm not ready to get off of it just yet. The next book I did complete was Rebecca Weatherspoon's Haven. This was the Smut Club book of the month for December. I did complete this, and I gave this a 3.5 star. I thought this going in was going to be like a 5-star because it hit the ground fucking running. But as it started progressing, it started losing some of that it started losing some of that shine for me. So that's why I got dropped down to a 3.5. This is the first installment in the Beards and Bondage series by Rebecca Weatherspoon. We have kind of a damsel in distress trope. We also exhibit BDSM. We do have triggers for survival guilt, and we do have some sexual healing through BDSM practices. And I really enjoyed that aspect about this book. The summary of this, we have Shep and Claudia. Shep lives up on a mountain, and Claudia is it looks like she's on a camping trip with her brother, and she is attacked by some serial killers coming through the area. And as she's fleeing from the serial killer, she comes upon Shep. Shep lets her in, and Shep defends her by doing what he does best. And he kills her attacker and takes her to the hospital. And then our attraction really begins at that point. It starts off as a very desperate need of attraction. I'm using the word attraction. It's not the word I need to be using. It's this, we have gone through this traumatic experience, and we're the only two that really understand it. So there's this need and dependency that is formed immediately between these two parties. Now, however, the two parties do separate. Claudia does end up going back home, back to New York. And over some time jumps, which you do experience in this book, she realizes that this dependency, this innate need for Shep never went away, and it's the same on Shep's side. So Claudia comes back, and that's really when the romance of this story kicks off, and it turns from this codependent need for survival into this sustenance sustenance isn't the word either. This book is so unique in its way of using the romance, which is one of the things that really, really worked about this book, is how it takes this relationship between these two parties and turns it from one thing and morphs it into another thing, but yet it still very much resembles what it used to be. This codependence, because we understand each other. We've gone through the same triggers and the same traumas. So there's still this layer of we understand each other and we get each other. But as the story progresses, it morphs into the dependence and the need and the sustenance that you would find in a traditional kind of romance, where they didn't experience this traumatic experience with each other. Rebecca Weatherspoon walks that line of dependency so fucking well. I mean, she nailed that. She nailed it. She did an excellent job with that. It also didn't help that she wrote Shep to be fucking awesome. I loved him. He was a big working point for me in this book. I loved his take charge attitude. He knew what he wanted and he went for it. He didn't let anything get in his way. However, he does have his own demons that he does work through and has to deal with. But the way he goes about dealing with them is he's very straightforward and blunt about it. He doesn't beat around the bush at all. And I love attitudes like that. In my male heroes, I don't like guys that talk in circles. I like guys who are like, do you want to do this or don't you? There's your options. Yes or no. I love a take charge kind of attitude, very blunt, very straight to the point. I love that about some of my male heroes, and Shep definitely showed that a lot, and I had such a good time with him with that. And his chemistry with Claudia, because Claudia herself is kind of a take charge kind of chick. I mean, when she is going through her PTSD scenes in the book before she comes back with Shep, I mean, she eventually just says, fuck this. This is not what I want. I'm quit my job. I'm gonna go see him and I'm gonna find out the fuck's going on. And when they have their conversation, she's literally like, I don't know what the hell I'm fucking doing. I just know I need to be here. I know this feels right, but I don't know why, and I need to explore it, and I'm going to. I'm not gonna let anything get in my way. I'm gonna explore it. And I really, really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that their chemistry was very shaky from the start. In kind of, I don't know, neither one of us really know parties, and then together, they literally fight together through this tangled web of emotions, whether it's traumatic that I still need you, or it's actual love and feelings developing, and they find their way through it together. And it's just, she did such a good fucking job with it. It was so awesome. It was great to experience. It was great to read. It was great to be part of. I had a great fucking time with this book. The other thing that really worked in this book was the sexualized healing component through BDSM. Something about BDSM that a lot of people don't understand is that a lot of people do utilize this tool in their sexual life to heal past traumas, and it is shown perfectly how to use it. You have Shep, who is a dominant, and you have Claudia, who is willingly being a submissive to him. Shep takes her out of her own mentality and puts her in subspace, but yet guides her through it and works his way through it. He checks in with her regularly. He talks to her. They're very open about that element of their communication. And it comes to a point where he says, if this is going to work, we can have no secrets. You have to tell me what you're thinking and how you're feeling when I ask you, when I need to know, because at that point I cannot read you. So you need to vocalize it. And they're very clear on consent. They're very clear on conversation during these moments. And just seeing how Claudia, in this one scene, the initial flogging scene, how she dips into subspace and how it revitalizes her. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful fucking scene. And then to have it completely polarized, that they are outside and they are doing something very sexualized, and how it triggers the original trauma to come back. And now she has to work through it. She has to. And she can't, because she doesn't know what to do. He doesn't know what to do. The understanding that neither party knows what to do when the real trigger hits, and the safety of the four walls is taken and she's put back into the same traumatic episode, and how Shep just stops and lets her do what he feels like she needs to do. He lets her control the scenario. You need to go. You need to go. Okay, go. That's fine. You need to do what you need to do. And it's just, it was so well done. I had such a good fucking time with this book. I really, really did. I definitely plan on continuing with the rest of the series. There were some things that didn't work in this, and there was just more kind of like plot development points that I just thought was kind of like, why did you go with that? I'm not quite for sure, because it really wasn't fleshed out that well. We do have this FBI angle with the serial killers. They, at one point in time, believe Shep might be involved with it. And that is all because based off of reputation that he has that was created by an ex-girlfriend because of the kink that he likes to experience because of his BDSM kind of lifestyle. They look down on him about it. And so they think that, okay, maybe he's kind of like crazy and serial killers. And I just thought that was kind of rude. And I get why it was there, to show that people don't understand the reasoning behind a BDSM mindset and what can come of it. I do get why it was there. I just didn't like that it was there, because that sucks that people actually still hold those viewpoints about people who practice this. Like, it's, stop. No, I didn't like that, but that's just me. And the abrupt ending. I was not a total fan of how just abrupt it just ended. I was like, what? It's over? Really? Okay. So the total abrupt ending comes after she has relived her traumatic experience in the woods completely unintentionally, but it happened, and she flees. But she comes back, and Shep has just gone through his own heartbreak yet once again, because of who he is, which was his whole trauma, is trying to work his own kind of inner demons out with her as well. And he just accepted her tenfold back. Like, there was no, you broke my heart. There was no conversation. There was no restitution conversation. And I kind of was annoyed by that. I kind of wish that would have existed, but maybe we'll get it in future installments. I don't know if the next installment of the series ties into this one at all, or if it's just kind of in the same world. So we'll find out from there. But right now, this abrupt kind of no conversation really kind of ending. There was a conversation. Shep didn't really say much during it. He just was kind of listening and got up and said, "Are you fucking coming or not?" And I was like, what? Okay, well, that's one way to accept it. But then again, it does work for his character really, really well, because he was a take no shit kind of guy. He was just like, this is what it is. This is how I'm dealing with it. If you don't like it, there's the fucking door. You coming or not? Like, that's kind of his character was. So it did work with his character. I wish for a more like well-rounded ending. That's just for me personally. Spice rating on this, 4 chili peppers. Definitely, this was a hot one. We have BDSM scenes with toys and extreme dominance. Not extreme as in other books, but very a dominant personality, a very specific way of speaking. There is some degradation. There's a minor degradation kink in here. But it's not to the point where I would say this is a book that definitely represents a degradation kink, but it is kind of used. We do have Claudia saying, I want you to choke me. I want you to slap me. I want you to make me feel like a dirty slut. And he does very, very well, actually. he does. And it's great. Those scenes are fantastic. Oh my God. They're awesome. We have graphic language and graphic situations, of course. And we do have the sexual healing scene with the flogging and putting her into subspace. It's just, I'm telling you guys, if you read this book, that scene is so awesome. It's so well done. I loved watching her go into subspace. I am not a very submissive person in the first place, so subspace kind of storylines sometimes just make me feel weird because I'm used to being the dominant person. But God, this was good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing her go in, and I enjoyed how he brought her out. I very much enjoyed. I thought it was very, very well done. And this is not the only sexualized healing component. We do have other scenes of just intimate touches, of being held, especially in the hospital. Just these little intimate gestures that between a couple that hasn't gone through these traumatic experiences would be, just very sweet. But for them, they hold so much weight because this little graze of the hand, the rubbing of the shoulder, the caressing of the back for hours, the just listening to somebody breathe, just how it just calmed and made everybody at peace. Very, very well done. I had a great time with this. Definitely plan on continuing with the rest of the series. And also, this bitch can write a sex scene. Yes, she can. Yes, she fucking can. Yes, yes, yes. The next book I completed was You, Me, Bed Now by Olivia T Turner. I picked this up for the ABC challenge. I needed a Y book. And this is a sports romance featuring the sport of rugby. So this is the first for me. I know jack about rugby. I know nothing. So I very much related to our heroine character in this book a lot. We do have graphic sexual content. We do have some coerced consent moments as well. We have a dual first time, and definitely a breeding kink makes its appearance in this as well. So we have Zoe, who's a sports journalist who's usually known for covering tennis. That's her sport. But when her company that she works for, the owner's son takes a liking to her, instead of telling him to go fuck off, they send her to New Zealand to cover rugby, a sport that she knows fuck all about. Fuck all. And we have Akia. I'm not about to pronounce his actual name because I will butcher it. We just call him Akia in the book. And he is portrayed as this like god of rugby. Like he is the best rugby player in the world. And she is standing outside their locker room getting ready to interview the team. And all of these reporters who have been here for years saying, you're being sent here as a fucking punishment. You know nothing about the sport. This is insulting. And I'm thinking, okay, so this is where the story's going to go. One of the older reporters kind of gives her a little bit of jab and says, go look for this guy. He's always up for an interview. But if you try to interview Akia, who is the fly man, I think is what they called the position. He's essentially the quarterback of, like, he's the leader of the team on the rugby field. So if you know anything about rugby, please, if fly man's not the correct term, I think that's what they said, please correct me. But they flat out say, don't even try to go interview him. He doesn't give interviews. Period. Zip. Don't even try it. So she doesn't. She just goes and kind of looks around, and she finds the one guy, and it turns out he's like the third string guy. He doesn't even play. He's on the practice squad. And so she's like, fuck it, whatever. So she just starts asking stupid questions that have nothing to do with rugby. Like, do you have a cat? And what's his name? Are you, how do your parents feel about you playing? And all throughout this interview, she is seeing the mass of other journalists kind of moving around this massive man, this massive Samoan man, and she's getting little glimpses of his elbow and his ear and his jaw and like his kneecap through the windows. And then finally, it's like the Red Sea's part, and there's this fucking god of a Samoan. He is described pretty much like Jason Momoa without the fucking goatee, okay? He sounds fucking delicious. Oh, God. The description they gave for him, sounds amazing. But he sees her, and it's just something carnal and primal about his obsession with her. And he walks right up to her, and she locks eyes, but she's just like, this other guy is talking. So she's like, well, I'm not gonna be a dick. So she turns and he takes his hand, puts it on her face and turns her and says, I want to interview. And then grabs her and takes her to the fucking sauna. That's their introduction. And I'm just like, well, fuck me running. God damn. This is going to be great. This thing this thing was awesome. I had a great fucking time with this one. I believe I gave this 4 stars. I'm pretty sure I gave this 4 stars. What worked? The initial meeting, the humor in the locker room, and all of the description about the little pieces that you see of him and how she is just like, I'm going to be turned on by fucking elbows after this. This guy is smoking hot. Like his elbows are even hot. And she's making these jokes. And then finally, it's trailed throughout the book. So these like little bits of humor about just different body parts of him. Never like the whole package. It's just little parts of him, or big parts at some points in time, that are described. So we get a really good physical description of this guy throughout the story, but never like a clear 100% tall, dark hair, blah, blah, blah. It's all compacted throughout the story. And that's how you really figure out how this guy really looks. And it's fucking fantastic. I loved it. There is insta-lust in this book. I mean, when I say that he locks eyes with her and it's instant attraction, the sauna scene is their first like initial contact, and it is straight insta-lust. I mean, this guy holds no fucking bars. No, there is no punches held, nothing. He likes her, he wants her, and he makes it very, very known to her. It works with Akia's dominant characteristics. I mean, it works with his 0 to 100. It works with his look at her and die kind of attitude. All of that insta-lust, the way it was written, works with his dominant character. I'm usually not a big fan of that shit, but for this, it fucking worked. It was on point and it was hot. And that coerced consent scene, which, let's put it this way. I was not sopping wet because I was sitting in a sauna reading about a sauna, okay? Let's just put it that way. We also have a grand gesture in this book. Kia does this super fucking adorable, sweet thing. So she flees after he is interrupted, and he doesn't see her for a while until she has to report on another game, and his game is sucking. Like he is playing crap, and then he finally locks eyes with her in the audience, and he does the grand gesture, and it was so fucking adorable. I loved it. I had such a good time with it. I was like, yes, grand gestures. I love them. I'm a sucker for a grand gesture, so that was definitely really, really cool. And we also have the inclusion of Samoan cultural elements involved in this book. We do get to see a little bit of that culture and how it's brought forth through romantic entanglements. And I thought that was really, really cool as well, how it was interlaced in this. This book is only like 90 something pages, but it does definitely pack a punch, and it's a good time. It's definitely a good time. What didn't work for me? We do have a dual virginity in this book. So we do have mutual virgins. I have no problem with the dual virginity thing. I thought it was maybe a little far-fetched that this great Samoan rugby player who's perfect and fucking gorgeous and can have anybody he wants never did anything. But then again, it takes all kinds of people. And athletes do have very strict regimens, especially ones who are diehard athletes who, I mean, if you look at some of the regimes of some of our professional athletes in the States, some of them are kind of fucking crazy. So I can kind of maybe understand that, especially if he made his whole life about, focusing on rugby, that was not a thing for him. But it was how amazingly perfect that first time was. First times, sometimes they kind of suck. Let's just be honest, especially when both parties don't know what the fuck they're doing. And even if it was, still romantic and amazing, the emotional amazingness I had no problem with. It was the physical, like how they knew exactly what the other person wanted right off the bat, but they've never done this before. except by themselves. So I was just kind of like, I don't really buy that. I would have enjoyed just a little bit of awkwardness to that scene. I think it would have made me feel a little bit more connected to that scene. So not having any of that kind of like, I've never done this before, that shy factor, that I don't know what to do kind of thing. I would have appreciated that just a little bit, for sure. I don't have a problem with 0 to 100, but it could be very annoying for people because Akia is 0 to 100. I mean, he sees her and he's literally saying in the interview that he asks a question. What does your pussy taste like? What? That's not how interviews work. Well, that's how they work when I do it. So you want me to answer a question, you will answer one of mine. And that's my question. Just like that. Just like that. Like, it is right there. And I'm just like, oh, fuck, okay. Well, alrighty then. Let's just move. We're just going to keep moving on. That's awesome. I have no problem with that, but some people might. So I wanted to point that out, that he is a 0 to 100. Instantaneous. And I wanted this longer. I wanted this fleshed out. I wanted more scenarios with them. I wanted more drama with them. I wanted a longer installment of a book. This thing was fun. I had a good time with this, and I wanted it longer. I liked Akia. I did. I really, really liked him. And the cool part about this story is we have multiple epilogues throughout the entirety of the relationship. Not just like a year later, 2 years later. We get an epilogue that's like 33 years later where their kids are grown up and they're still humping like bunnies in the fucking closet when it's their little goddamn secret. I think it's fucking great. I thought it was fucking fantastic. I was like, yes. Give me the whole fucking picture. But give me the whole picture in a much more fleshed out book. I don't want that just in the epilogue. So, for sure. Definitely had a good time with this one. Spice rating, however hot this was and how direct Akia was, this was only a 2 on the chili pepper scale. We have very graphic language, and then we do have the dual first time, but it's pretty vanilla. The most risque thing and the most taboo, you know how I hate using that word, is the fact that he does not use protection at all. And he blatantly says, I'm going to breed you. And she says, go for it. You know, like that is a thing about them through some of their sex scenes, that he just wants to fill her belly with his seed and wants to own her 100%. And that's one way of owning her, is to make sure that she is carrying his child and everything like that. And that is a huge turn on for him, the fact that he is barebacking it with her. So yeah, huge turn on. So that's why I definitely put the breeding kink in there as a as something to look for in this book if you're looking for that, because it's definitely a major trigger for Akia, for sure. But other than that, it's pretty mild, pretty vanilla, but it's still really hot. It's still really, really hot. And it's well done. The next book that I'm still working on is an audiobook, and that is Rain by Siobhan Davis. This is the third installment to The Boys of Lowell High, The Sainthood. This is the conclusion to the trilogy. We have gang violence and graphic sexual situations, graphic language. We follow, her name just slipped my mind. Harlow, Saint, Kaz, Theo, and Galen. Those are our main characters. And this installment, we are still trying to take down the sainthood, but now we have more hiccups because this picks up directly where the second one left off. And we have to figure out how we're going to get around these hiccups. And we're going to be doing some drastic things. And Harlow is going to have to make some serious choices in this book. So this installment, so far where I'm at, I'm not finished with it. We have had Harlow posed a question that is going to be very difficult for her. So we are going to have to see her emotional range. And maybe this is an installment that I'll finally actually get behind her, because this decision seems quite hard knowing how she feels about some of her boys. I I feel like there's going to be a lot more emotions in this one. It's already building up that this is more emotionally heavy versus, you know, just like wham bam, super sexy fun time. Thank you, ma'am. Because we have emotions for Harlow. We have emotions for some of the guys towards each other. Yes, that's a thing that I think is going to be happening in this book. And I'm down for it because the two characters involved. Yes, thank you. That's going to be a good fucking scene. I hope to God I get that scene because it's going to be dope. Really hope it's going to happen. But I'm really excited about the emotional side that I'm going to see with Harlow. So hopefully this will be the installment that I can get behind her in, because right now she's still a pill. She's still a pill that I have to like fucking swallow. And I'm like, God damn it, you're annoying. But hopefully seeing this emotional side of her, this weak side of her, will make her more of a relatable person to me, because so far we've only seen her trying to be super hard, super strong, and I know she's not like that. So maybe seeing those walls down will help me relate to her just a little bit more. So I'm really excited about finishing this. I will be finishing it this week, so I will have my finishing thoughts on it next week for my next weekly wrap up. So you will be hearing that. And I will be finishing this series so I can check another series off this year. And the last book I did start because I have to, because I have to finish this series before the end of the year. I have to. And that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, the final installment to the Throne of Glass series. I have started, so you will be seeing that vlog up probably by the end of this week. So keep your eyes peeled for it if it doesn't go up earlier. I'm really excited. I literally just started it Christmas. So I'm going to reserve any of my thoughts on it right now because of where it starts off at. And that's all I'm going to say on that one. And I will see you guys in the vlog on this one. But that's all I got for you guys this week. This is coming to you a little bit later than normal because Sunday was actually Christmas. So I uploaded my 12 tropes of Christmas, and I'll link it up here for you guys. That is my little Christmas present to you. It's 12 recommendations based off of randomly chosen romance tropes. And so I hope you'll go check that out and enjoy my little Christmas present to you guys. And this week you will be seeing a shit ton of me. Like, I have videos coming up damn near every single day this week. So keep your eyes peeled. Make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe. And if you would like, hit that little bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload, because I will be uploading pretty much every single day this week because this is those end of the year videos. So keep your eyes peeled, and I hope to see you guys all soon with another video.